Who will be the next Arsenal manager? That is the question on everybody's lips, and that is also the question that I'm looking to answer today. But first and foremost, I want to say, hello guys, DJ Bagpuss here, and welcome back to Analysing Arsenal. Now, for anyone that has been living under a cave the last couple of days, on Friday, April the 20th, Arsene Wenger announced that he will be leaving Arsenal at the end of the season. Coincidentally, I think he got sacked rather than stepping down. But he's leaving. He's no longer going to be the Arsenal manager. So next season, there was going to be a new manager in charge of Arsenal Football Club for the first time in over 2 decades, which is absolutely crazy, really. And over the last couple of days, we had all the tributes, and everybody has showed respect and given praise to arguably who's not just been the greatest manager for Arsenal, but one of the greatest managers in the modern game. You know, as I keep saying, Arsene Wenger revolutionised the modern era of football, and he's done wonders for Arsenal Football Club, despite how bad things have got in his second half of his, long and worthy tenure. What he did in the first half, you can't take that away from him. And between now and the end of the season, he deserves absolute respect and, dignity, and to go out in a blaze of glory, which everybody's giving. And he's had the last kind of 48, 72 hours to kind of get the tributes flowing in, and everybody, remembering and recognising just how great Arsene Wenger has been. But now, the next question on everybody's lips is who is going to replace Arsene Wenger. Now, obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan and I do an Arsenal series on YouTube. So this news was almost like an early Christmas present for my YouTube channel generally. And as an Arsenal fan, this has been the news I've been waiting for so many years. And obviously, being an Arsenal YouTuber and just being an Arsenal fan, your first response is to record a reaction video, and I did. I recorded a reaction video talking about my thoughts and feelings to the news that Arsene Wenger was leaving Arsenal. You can check that. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. And in this set video, I gave a little bit of an inkling into who I feel was going to take over and be the next Arsenal manager. And subsequently, having a few days to process the news and actually think about who I actually want to take Arsenal further, I have kind of changed my mind, really. I don't actually agree with what I said on Friday, and in this video I'm going to be giving my thoughts and feelings on who I think should be the next Arsenal manager, really, because obviously we haven't got an announcement yet, and when we do get an announcement I'll do a reaction video to it. But right now there's so many names floating about, and you always get this, and like, I've never seen this. I've had one manager manage my club, the club that I love and the club that I've lived and breathed for over a decade, and I know one manager for my entire life, a man who has managed a football club longer than I have been born. So I've never had this feeling, and it's an exciting time, really, having the feeling of optimism and seeing somebody else sit on the sidelines and, manage the team, really. So, when you have a manager stepping down, and particularly a big club like Arsenal, one of the biggest clubs in English football, you have kind of so many different candidates, and like, you can almost split the candidates into kind of 2 columns, really. And this is a big decision for Arsenal Football Club, particularly for the board, and I do not trust the board with any huge decisions whatsoever. But this is crucial, really, in terms of where do they want Arsenal Football Club to go, who do they want to kind of take on the work and hold the fort and kind of keep everything at bay, dealing with Arsene Wenger leaving. The fallout for him leaving, the new manager has got to deal with all of that. Or are they looking for the next Arsene Wenger? And, when I say the next Arsene Wenger, I do not think I don't think we'll see it again, not certainly in my lifetime, although, football is one of those games that can prove you wrong so many times. But I don't think, particularly in the Premier League, we're going to see a manager last kind of, 20, 22 years. We had Sir Alex Ferguson, we now have Arsene Wenger. I think those days are gone, really. I think you're going to see managers at best be at a football club for like 10 years, 15 years at best, but never like 2 decades, and even 15 years is pushing it. The longest I can see a manager is probably a decade at best. So you ain't going to get, a manager staying at a decade is probably going to be rare. To stay 2 decades is absolutely obscene. So, are they looking for the next manager to be at Arsenal for 5 or 6 years? Or are they looking for someone who is just going to be at the club for, a season, 2 seasons max, and then they get the next appointment is the next Arsene Wenger? Because do you go, and this is what Arsenal have got to think of, do they go for a quick fix, or the permanent solution? You know, do you go for a manager who is really experienced, has dealt with pressure at the top level, knows what it means to win titles, and can come into Arsenal Football Club, take them back to where they want to be, and then almost just piss off, really? Or do you go for someone who is almost like, you know, the avatator, the person who is, you know, here for the long haul, who is looking to grow and develop, you know, maybe hasn't got that level of experience, has not managed at the highest level, who hasn't won, you know, major honours yet, and like this is almost their first gig, you know? So do you go down the two paths? You know, do you go for Luis Enrique or Brendan Rodgers? You know, there are two kind of areas you can go down, and for me, I don't really know. You know, I said on Friday that I wanted to see Carlo Ancelotti take over Arsenal, but now thinking about it and having a couple of days to process those thoughts, I kind of now feel that Carlo Ancelotti would be a quick fix, really. And, you know, also without sounding ageist, I want to see a manager with life in him. And I'm not saying for one moment that Carlo Ancelotti wouldn't have that life in him, but, you know, Arsene Wenger's kind of 60, going on to, you know, into his 70s. Carlo Ancelotti's at the latter stage of his career, you know. I want to see a manager like a Conte, like a Diego Simeone, you know, who is running up and down the touchline, who doesn't stop for a moment's breath, that constantly is, you know, shouting, pleading, and, you know, hurling words at their players insert of the game, in terms of when the game changes, when they're holding on to a win, or when they've got to bounce back from being in a losing position. You know, I want a manager that, you know, lives and breathes on the touchline, really. You know, and you're not going to get that from Arsene Wenger, you know, maybe in his early years, but, you know, Arsene Wenger was a very calm manager, very controlled, very reassured. I want the opposite. I kind of want someone that is, you know, going to be bold and brass and, you know, loud, and is going to, you know, put an absolute rocket, not just one rocket, but like two rockets up these players' arses, because that's what they need. You know, it's been far too nice at Arsenal for too long. You know, everything's nice. You know, Arsene Wenger's nice, the players are nice, you know, the staff are nice. I want to see, you know, somebody come in and, you know, turn Arsenal from a nice club to an absolutely nasty club. I want Arsenal to be a nasty little shit. You know, going back to the days when Wenger took over, the Vieiras, you know, the Birdcabs, you know, the Tony Adams, the Keowns, you know, players that would literally punch your lights out if you gave them an even whisker of a chance. And I want the managers to have that same kind of demeanour, you know, act and place in some ruthlessness into this club, right? So, you know, with that being said, you have got a decision on your hands. You know, as I said, do you go for the more experienced chappy, or go for someone who is, you know, not got the experience but is ready to just, you know, throw it all out there and see where it takes it, really? You know, Luis Enrique is that experienced guy. You know, Thomas Tuchel, I know, and some of you were up to your ears in joy, may I say, when you heard when I said that Thomas Turgus is the favourite. It's Thomas Tuchel. Don't know where I got Turgus from, so I'm only going to let a couple of you notice that little eventuality. You kind of were just engrossed in what I was saying, so you didn't really take into account what I was saying. But I had a couple of people, you know, tweet me and say, you know, who's Thomas Turgus? He's an actor. Thomas Tuchel is a manager. I meant Thomas Tuchel, so apologies for that. But, you know, experience with Thomas Tuchel, Luis Enrique. Who else is on the front line that is experienced? Obviously Carlo Ancelotti, but I think he is now probably going to go to, I think he's been linked with a national job, so I'm not too sure about that. But you've got the experienced chappies, and then you've got the likes of, you know, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, Brendan Rodgers. Now, I know Brendan Rodgers has, you know, managed in the Premier League, not played, but he's managed in the Premier League at the highest level you could possibly get. You know, he took Liverpool, you know, with a fraction away from, you know, winning the Premier League, and he's doing wonders at Celtic. But he hasn't managed at, like, I mean, this is going to sound harsh to Liverpool fans, because Liverpool are a big club as well, and actually, in my opinion, Liverpool are a bigger club than Arsenal in terms of their heritage and what they've done for the modern game. But, you know, he after coming close to the title, he flopped, he failed. You know, he got sacked from Liverpool. So, you know, there's a worry. And, you know, the other thing about Brendan Rodgers' side is that they couldn't defend. You know, Liverpool could never defend, really. And Arsenal can't defend either. So are we going to be bringing in another manager who has that defensive, you know, inability and defensive problems, really? So I'm a little bit kind of on the fence with Brendan Rodgers. If you brought in like Mikel Arteta, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, you're bringing in someone who hasn't got proper experience, who's not managed at the top game. So there's a risk there. There's an absolutely, gargantuan risk there. But, get it right and it'd be extraordinary. It'd absolutely be extraordinary. But, this is different. There's been a lot of comparisons between Sir Alex Ferguson when he left Manchester United, now with Arsene Wenger, leaving Arsenal. With Sir Alex Ferguson, he was going out a champion. And, you can't go any higher than when you're a champion. So for David Moyes, it was almost an impossible task unless he won the league again and the group of players that he inherited were nowhere near title winners. It came down to two things: Robbie Van Persie and Sir Alex Ferguson that got Manchester United that title. So it was a completely different kettle of fish. At Arsenal, we're already in a decline. So the manager, can only, if he takes us further down, then he's just going to get sacked straight away. He can only really take us up. Let's get back into the Champions League and, start to compete for the Premier League title. Because that's where we really want to be. Not just getting back into the Champions League. We might even get back into the Champions League already if we go on to win the Europa League. Got to obviously get past Atletico Madrid first. But, we could get to a stage where, getting into the Champions League is, a minimum when this new manager arrives. And, competing for Premier League titles, that's where we want to be. And it's going to take time. We need to give the new manager time. We need to, keep the patience, keep the calmness. My big problem with Wenger was that I felt that he'd overstayed and overstayed his welcome, and he was so stubborn that he just wouldn't leave Arsenal Football Club, and that is what made me infuriated with him. If he'd walked away, last season, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, I wouldn't have been anger. The anger and hostility for the fans and them not turning up the Emirates is because they can see that the club's not going anywhere with Arsene Wenger at the helm. But you can't take away what he's done, hence why I'm not going to be, ranting and raving a bit anymore, because I've got my wish. He's leaving. So now it's time to thank him for everything he's done and give him respect and dignity and send him out in the best possible way that Arsenal Football Club can possibly give him. And, we're already seeing that with the kind of atmosphere that we saw at the Emirates on Sunday after beating West Ham by 4-1. So, the board have got to make that decision. Do they bring in an experienced man? Do they bring, a new prodigy? And how long do they give him? There's so many questions that won't be answered until we're kind of 6 months, 8 months into the job. When this new manager comes in, what players is he going to get rid of? What players is he going to keep? So there's so many different kind of, questions that are pondering right now. And right now, I think the favourite is Luis Enrique. A couple of weeks ago, it looked an absolute given that he was going to go to Chelsea. It now looks like plans have changed, and his favourite is Arsenal. And he suits Arsenal. The way that he plays Arsenal and Barcelona are quite similar in the way that they play their passing play. And obviously, he did very well at Barcelona, won a couple of the Liga titles, and I think did he win the triple? I think he won the treble, like in 2014, 2015. I'm pretty sure Barcelona won the treble under Luis Enrique, but don't quote me on that. So, there's going to be some very interesting, questions. I've kind of just laid the fence down, really. Again, I'm not quite sure and entirely sure about who is going to become the next manager of Arsenal. But we shall see. It's going to be very interesting times. And we're obviously going to do another video when the manager is announced, whatever that is. Whether that's going to be in the next couple of days, or whether that's going to be, at the end of the season. I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if they have sacked Wenger, that they don't have a replacement lined up already, and they don't have that sorted. Maybe they're getting that sorted as we speak. Maybe they will watch my video, give them a couple of ideas, really. But it's going to be interesting. It's exciting. But, more importantly, now, between now and the end of the season, forgetting about now who the next guy is going to be. Between now and the end of the season, let's just concentrate on the team, send Wenger out in the best possible way, and then once Wenger actually does leave Arsenal, we can then move forward and look to answer the questions that I have laid down in this video as well. So, Luis Enrique for me looks to be quite a good, favourite. Again, a couple of days ago it was Thomas Tuchel, it's now Luis Enrique. It's all speculation. Who knows who the next manager of Arsenal is going to be. But whoever it is, whether they're an experienced chappie or a young, totally bold protege, it is certainly going to be interesting times for the Gunners as they look to embark on a brand new era. I'm going to leave Analyse Arsenal there for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like on the video. Check out my other great content as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Follow me on Twitter at DJBagpuss98, and I will rejoin you for Analyse Arsenal on Thursday as we face Atletico Madrid in the Europa League semi-final Thursday. So until next time, take care, and I shall see you all soon. Take care, and I shall see you all later.